This week, the sun within us, consciousness life, activates the seventh I Ching. The transformational path of this frequency moves us from the shadow of division to the highest vibration of virtue, and it's through the path of guidance. The seventh I Ching is one of the truly powerful global I Ching frequencies, and its aim is nothing short of complete global realization, which can give us some idea of its significance in the human genome. So all the people who have this I Ching frequency in their energetic design have a profound responsibility resting on their shoulders to guide humanity into the future, and hopefully into a new and better future. On the other side, the seventh shadow also exerts a very powerful influence on the direction of our species through this seventh I Ching. The original name of this hexagram, this frequency, is the general, the army, also known as the power behind the throne. So these are influential people placed throughout society, and depending on their agenda, their frequency, they collectively pull humanity towards further chaos or towards integration and wholeness, oneness. The seventh I Ching definitely has potent leadership potential, but they're not leaders per se. They're people with influence, hence the key word, the power behind the throne. In any group, for example, the seventh I Ching carries this power that when it speaks, others tend to listen. They may not like what they hear, but the aura of the seventh I Ching has the kind of frequency that sounds like truth, as though it knows what it's talking about. So these are the people we tend to listen to. But we have to think about that for a moment. If someone has an agenda, for example, to make as much money as they can without a care in the world for anyone else, then just through the power of this seventh I Ching, this code, the chances are they will find people who will listen to them and follow them and help them achieve their aim. So the seventh shadow can really take advantage. We have to remember that the shadow is always the victim frequency, and the dilemma of the seventh shadow of division is all about boundaries. If we don't have a strong sense of our own core stability, then we're at risk of being pulled along the current of someone else's seventh I Ching agenda. You know, it could sound exciting, it can sound enticing, it could sound captivating and filled with promise. But if we're not being discerning, we're very likely to fall victim to this energy in the world, whether we have the seventh I Ching in our energetic design or not. So the first aspect of understanding this shadow is to learn how to have strong boundaries, to have restraint. And on the other side, it's to realize that the shadow here is the shadow of division. And if we don't have a clear-cut intention that is grounded and rooted in service, then division is what we will be creating. The seventh I Ching is part of a codon group, a group of codes called the codon ring of union, the genetic coding that governs a smooth relating process with others. So the seventh I Ching and a selfish, self-absorbed, self-obsessed agenda is going to create a real mess in the world, our environment. And this is why boundaries are so important. It's not enough to have good intentions. We have to be able to show understanding and commitment. These are the two keys in the codon group. Not to mention, the programming partner of the seventh I Ching is the 13th I Ching, the gift of discernment. And the seventh shadow is not good at boundaries. Often it's eager to be of service without the proper maturity and support or the ability to listen. It's a cocktail for what will be eventually a disappointment, division. Many projects that begin with this seventh I Ching end up as a divisive situation in which people are hurt, resentful, and angry at the lack of clarity, commitment, and humility coming from this seventh I Ching shadow. The seventh gift, the way to alchemize the shadow and raise the vibration, guidance. The gift of guidance is so often misunderstood at the shadow frequency. So at the shadow, this seventh I Ching offers and profits without awareness, and more importantly, without invitation. There is a deep need for recognition that comes out of this seventh shadow. It craves attention. It feeds the will to power. So if you have this I Ching in your energetic design, examine your motives to guide others very, very carefully. You should only guide reluctantly. And when you're truly called upon, you're not the great initiator. This is the gift of sages, of masters. So it doesn't run out to the world seeking people to guide. They have to seek you out. And if they do find you, don't rush to say yes either. That is not what it's about. Consider the situation and the person before you carefully. Let them know you're considering it. And then be honest when you have decided. Because sometimes the best guidance is not to guide. That takes really deep strength. Most people actually don't need or really want guidance. They need someone to listen to them, to hold loving space for them. The other beauty in this gift of guidance is it knows how to be still. Guidance is really about knowing how to be with somebody. It's about presence. It's about awareness. It's about resonating with them, taking them in, drawing in their energy into your cells, into the body, into your heart, your spirit. It's to listen with the heart. And this is the deepest form of guidance. Guidance through embodiment, guidance through non-guidance. It's being together with no agenda. It's beauty in action. So the gift arises on its own, out of the fertile field of the shadow. So we're sitting with someone, cultivating presence, and then the gift magically flows through us into space. And each of the 64 gifts carries its own form, its own genius of guidance. In truth, we're really only hosts for each other, walking each other home. And this is the magic present in this codon ring of union. The guidance comes from reflection, from pausing, from being with each other, just from sitting with another aura, from relaxing and talking about ordinary things together. That's how the invisible truth comes in. The seventh city, the highest vibration, virtue. When we use the word virtue here in this city, we have to realize we're using the word in its broadest terms, in its multidimensional capacity. English is useful because it's universal, but its disadvantage is it could be one-dimensional. In some more ancient languages, words had many more dimensions and depths. So when we use the word virtue, we need to think of the source of all that's best in us, our light. We need to think of the qualities hidden in our spirit. We need to picture those aspects of our essence that are going to travel onwards when we transmute and give up the body. So how do we find our own hidden virtue? How do we invite its essence to be realized in the air of life? Here are some ways I practice. See, think, and or speak of others without a negative light. Virtue is like a delicate flower. It can't thrive or breathe when we cast our own shadow upon each other, when we project onto one another. So protect your virtue from such thoughts. And if you find others talking ill of others, protect yourself from those sick words. Be forgiving towards others and let them feel the warmth of your care for them. But realize the way we think of others is like the sunlight or the darkness cast before the flowering of our virtue. And when we bring our awareness to this, over time, the flowering of our virtue will return into our heart, rewriting the characters in life in the highest light. The seventh I Ching has qualities of leadership. In the original translation, it's known as the army, but its symbol is of water in the earth, water hidden in the earth. So like our hidden virtue, it's hidden until it rises to the surface in mysterious places and mysterious ways, as springs, and people are naturally drawn to springs. Rivers and lakes flow from springs. Towns and settlements form around springs. The springs are a healing place for all creatures and beings to come together. And virtue is also something we accumulate, just as water accumulates beneath the ground over centuries. And we accumulate virtue through our positive action, thoughts, and deeds. We don't see the drops of water filling the great lakes below. But one day, when our virtue rises up, it begins to flow from our hearts and out through our aura as light, as tangible goodwill and the kindness of our heart, while holding a higher vision for the world. I empower you this week to create space, get to higher awareness, notice your thoughts, feel all the sensations fully that come up in the body. Shine the light of awareness to the sense of division. What virtue can you express this week in order to transcend the pressure that wants you to stay divided? Breathe in, breathe out. Remember, love yourself and choose to be blessed.